And yes, the gas pipelines may be choked, but here on Star 103.5 FM, we are very fluid, bringing you the latest in news on Star today on Star 103.5 FM. And coming up this evening, minority demands probe into circumstances leading to the abandonment of a patient in the bush by management of Winneba Trauma Hospital, leading to her unfortunate death.
I mean, this is the height of inhumanity. And Mr. Speaker, this House must take interest. We have to summon the Minister for Health, the Ghana Health Service, the board and management of the Winneba Government Hospital. We cannot accept this.
We'll also hear from the minority who are demanding the presentation of report of special committee on IGP leak tape saga of some senior officers plotting the removal of Dr. Dampare.
Mr. Speaker, I want to use this medium to appeal to you to direct the business committee to list as a matter of urgent importance that particular report for us to deal with as a matter of urgency starting from Tuesday.
And later in the bulletin, we will hear also from the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, who have petitioned the National Labour Commission to compel tutors of colleges of education to call off their strike, describing the action as an act in bad faith.
They followed it up with another letter asking their members to immediately embark on a strike action. That I think that in our opinion, it is out of bad faith.
We'll get a response from the striking teachers on what they make of this move by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. And later in the bulletin, we are live to Idra Setre Dumase, where a violent clash erupted between the NPP and NDC over the voter transfer exercise. Stay with us because we've got details of these and more coming up shortly.
Star News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, My Star Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Star 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Star 103.5 FM. Star News. Informed, in depth, in touch.
Thank you so much for staying on with us right here on Star 103.5 FM. This is Ghana's most comprehensive news analysis program, Star Today, and we are also live on Facebook. So do join us on Facebook at Star 103.5 FM. You can send your thoughts, your comments, your views, and contributions to the stories we'll be tackling this evening. Alternatively, you can send all of those to our WhatsApp number 0552 880 216 0552 880-216. Now, let's start from Parliament and a rather sad development involving the death of an old woman in the Central Region, where the minority in the House is demanding a probe into the circumstances that led to the death of a patient after she was abandoned allegedly by management of the Winneba Trauma Hospital. The patient, who was involved in a vehicle accident and lost the use of her legs, was rejected by the hospital according to sources and abandoned by the roadside at Gumwa Ojobi after months without visitation by any relative. The woman subsequently died in the bush after 3 days. Raising the matter on the floor, Member of Parliament for North Town Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa charged Parliament to summon the sector minister and management of the Ghana Health Service over the matter. Listen to him.
And I'm sure the Honorable Majority Leader will be concerned because it's a matter that happened in his constituency. The Winneba Government Hospital, it has been reported that doctors and nurses there just threw out a patient who had an accident. They couldn't locate the patient's relations. The patient says she comes from somewhere, Oboji or something of that nature, a UTV report. And then they just put her in the ambulance, went to dump her in the bush. After 3 days, Mr. Speaker, the patient died. This is a woman who lost her legs in an accident, a 44-year-old woman, traumatized. I mean, this is the height of inhumanity. And Mr. Speaker, this House must take interest. We have to summon the Minister for Health, the Ghana Health Service, the board and management of the Winneba Government Hospital. We cannot accept this. So, Mr. Speaker, this happened in the Majority Leader's constituency. He has to join us so we constitute an urgent probe into this matter. This negligence, this abuse of the 1992 Constitution, and the gross violation of the Hippocratic oath of our doctors cannot be accepted. There is national outrage, and as a house, we have to be concerned and we must take immediate action. It can happen to any of us. We can have an accident anywhere. It can happen to any of our relatives. And, Mr. Speaker, we cannot accept this gross negligence. So this House, Mr. Speaker, must take an interest in this matter urgently so that we can be responsive to the plight of the people we represent in this House. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
So that's Samuel Okudzeto Blakwa, the Member of Parliament for North Tongue, on the floor of the House. Today, Majority Leader Alexander Penyumakin, who dabbles as MP for the area, revealed he has personally written to the hospital for a full report on the matter. He also brought to the attention of the House moves by the Ghana Health Service to investigate the matter. The Efutu MP consequently asked Parliament to allow for the conclusions of the ongoing investigations before stepping in if necessary.
It came up in the media yesterday, and I shall refer to a letter by me with reference ML/042, dated 13 June, addressed to the Medical Director, Trauma and Specialist Hospital, Winneba Central Region. Dear Sir, request for full report on patient incident. I write to formally request a report on an incident involving a patient who was admitted to the facility. According to a report from United Television, this patient was under the care of your hospital, but was discharged under distressing circumstances. It has been alleged that the patient was left in the bush in Ojobi and tragically passed away after being exposed to heavy rains. This is disturbing and raises questions about the standards of care and protocols followed by your institution. To better understand the circumstances surrounding this incident, I am requesting a full report on this happening. Please consider this request as priority and respond at your earliest convenience. I count on your cooperation. Yours faithfully, signed by my very good self. Mr. Speaker, further to this, I've become aware of a press release by the Ghana Health Service dated 14 June 2024 to all media houses. Reference: patient allegedly abandoned in a bush at Gomwa, Ojobi. The attention of leadership of the Ghana Health Service has been drawn to a media story about a patient allegedly abandoned in a bush at Gomwa, Ojobi in the Central Region. According to the story, it is alleged that the said patient was on admission at the Trauma and Specialist Hospital in Winneba, and after her relatives had failed to show up, she was conveyed in the hospital's ambulance and left in a wheelchair at Ojobi, where she claimed to be her hometown and was later found dead. The service, upon receiving this disturbing news, has initiated investigations into the matter to establish the authenticity or otherwise of the story in line with existing practices in the public service to enable us to take appropriate action. The service wishes to appeal to the general public to be patient, as anyone found to be connected with this unfortunate incident will be severely dealt with in accordance with provisions of the Services Code of Conduct. Thank you. End of statement. Signed, Dr. Patrick Kumar Boaji, Director General.
Member of Parliament for Efutu, Alexander Kwamna Penyumak, and Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagman on his part, questioned why the country has sunk to this level of callousness and heartlessness. He, however, agreed with the majority leader for the House to await the outcome of ongoing investigations.
When I read and then also viewed on TV what happened, I got so sad that as a country we have gone that low. It should not happen, but these are allegations. And so what we have to do first is to await the investigation by the appropriate authorities. And then if we feel that justice has not been done, we will exercise our oversight responsibility and take it on. So the majority leader is right in saying that let's wait until we get a report from the appropriate ministry, and then we can take the necessary action. That is the way to go.
Alban Suwana Kingsford Bagwin is Speaker of Ghana's Parliament. Now, the minority is now also demanding the presentation of a report of a special ad hoc committee on the IGP leaked tape saga. The committee, chaired by Bwakwa South MP Samuel Atachia, was tasked to investigate a leaked audio of senior police officers in a conversation with former NPP Northern Regional Chairman Bugri Nabu to remove Dr. George Akufo Dampari as IGP. The report has, however, been outstanding for months, despite the rejection of an earlier leaked report by the committee chair. Speaking during the presentation of the business statement for next week, ranking member for the Committee on Defence and Interior, James Agalga, prayed the Speaker to, as a matter of urgency, get the report of the Special Ad Hoc Committee on the IGP leaked tape to be presented next week Tuesday. According to the Bulisa North MP, who also served as Vice Chairman of the committee, the delay has given room for all manner of speculations, thus must be urgently attended to. Mr. Gaga indicated the report is ready to be presented to the plenary.
So, Mr. Speaker, acting by your caution, some of your committees actually took steps to finalize quite a number of reports. And here I'm talking about the special committee that investigated the leaked audio involving the Inspector General of Police. Mr. Speaker, that report is ready. Before we went on recess, it was listed as one of the papers to be presented for the consideration of the House. Now, given the public interest character of that report, Mr. Speaker, I want to use this medium to appeal to you to direct the Business Committee to list as a matter of urgent importance that particular report for us to deal with as a matter of urgency starting from Tuesday. Because this thing has been on the eyes, and that has given room for all manner of speculations about the report, leakages here and there. So, Mr. Speaker, it's high time we brought the matter to closure. Aside that, Mr. Speaker, other similar reports, such as the report on the alleged military brutalities against the people of Ashaman by the military, is also outstanding. That one has already been laid and is to be taken. So, Mr. Speaker, there is yet another one, the Botiano report, which is also ready for laying. So, Mr. Speaker, I would pray you to make the necessary interventions to allow us to take those reports.
So that's the Member of Parliament for Bulisa North, James Agalga. Majority Leader Alexander Penyumarkin, in a response, charged the committee to make the report available to the table office for subsequent scheduling by the Business Committee. According to him, as it stands, the report is not before the House yet for presentation.
The Honorable James Agalga wanted to know about some reports, why they have not been programmed by the Business Committee. The Speaker, he is a co-chair of the committee. It's right that the Business Committee can only program an item for consideration when it is seized with the receipt of it. We are not in receipt of that report, and he and his colleagues must do the needful. I don't want this impression to be created that Business Committee has failed in its work. We have not. You have done your report. If the report is not before the table office and you are having technical issues, it is not for you to smuggle your way through to say that the Business Committee should program. We don't have the report. The table office has not brought any report for us to deliberate upon. So, unfortunately, he's left the chamber. I would want him to take this up so that they get it to us. Then we can program.
So you had the Majority Leader, Alexander Kwamna Penyumarkin. But let's get on the phone lines now and speak to Dr. Adam Bona, security analyst, on this development. Doc, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Great. So we were told by the committee in December last year that they had concluded work on the report and that it was awaiting validation by committee members. Today is what? The 14th of June, and still nothing. So are the concerns of the minority legitimate?
Yes. Good evening to your listeners. Very, very legitimate. I mean, it's should have been tabled long ago, and that has given room to speculation. People have spoken to me anytime issues come up, and it's referred to Parliament. Then the question that comes up is Parliament going to do the needful? Because this issue, it has to do with the elections of this country. Because if you look at those who allegedly were conspiring to oust, they are an IGP, because they said that way it will pave the way for, certain things to be done during elections. And so, as far as I'm concerned, we already, as we speak, we are hearing of some disturbances in Ejura. We've heard about some in Kaswa, and we are getting closer to the elections. And this report, from what I have heard, it has been ready for a long time. So why are they not taking it? It's an indictment on probably all of us as a people, because this it's something, a report that, or a committee that did work, an ad hoc committee that did work on our behalf, on the people of Ghana, our behalf. It's an issue that has to do with the public, a public interest matter, such as this. And for all this, months, we haven't had it laid. So I pray that the Speaker and the leadership of Parliament, I don't know whether they call them the business committee, or I don't know, those who are supposed to ensure it becomes part of what they will do on Tuesday, to ensure that it is taken, so that whatever it is, we all get to know what is in the report. Until that, it becomes difficult to tell what's in the report, and it gives room for a lot of speculation and indicting the entirety of Parliament, which is not very good.
And like you rightly mentioned, one of the key things that we see when it comes to this particular report, and basically rather the tape, was the issue of election. We are less than 6 months to the December 7 elections. And I want to find out, this delay, you say yes, it gives room for speculations and all of that, but what does it do to the case itself, the meat of the matter itself?
Well, it makes it look like maybe there's some conspiracy there. We need to cure a certain mischief by ensuring that, whatever the report is, bring it out. Let's see what is there, so we can all, deliberate, discuss it, and see our way forward. Because at the moment, as we speak, this issue, like you rightly mentioned and I mentioned earlier on, is centered on elections. 3, 4, 5 months to elections. This report has been ready, we are told, for some time back. And what is stopping Parliament? It's an indictment on Parliament, if you ask me. It's an indictment, a great indictment on Parliament. And some of us have had serious belief in, the 8th Parliament, and have actually praised the 8th Parliament to be one of, the best since this Constitution started. And so I think that as a matter of urgency, they should rally around, get it laid on Tuesday, so that I'm sure once it is laid, we are told once it is laid, it becomes public knowledge. And so before they even take it, if it's laid and it comes out, obviously we'll have a copy of the report. We'll begin to discuss it. It's very important. If not, it makes it look as if maybe we don't know what we are doing as a country, because then Parliament is very important in the scheme of our governance. And I would personally want to see Parliament put this out there for all of us to see. If those who are alleged to have said certain things, have been set free, we will know. If their report has indicted them also, we will know. But as far as I'm concerned, it's unduly delayed, which is causing a lot of, if you ask me, a lot of apprehension. A lot of people have asked me, especially, we have petitioned Parliament on this Cecilia Dapa Yoko saga.
Yes.
And a lot of people have called me. A lot of people have called and said, this Parliament, this issue that came up, this leak tape engulfed us for months. The confusion, the months that they did this work, eventually we still don't have a report. Are we ever going to get a report? I think it's not very good for the image of Parliament and the image of this country and what we are purporting to be doing as a country.
So for some, as it stands now, the police service is doing its work. They're preparing for the elections. It seems quite quiet on that front. So why do we need to get to know the details of this particular report, which would rather might have the tendency of shaking things up a bit?
Well, you see, whatever it is, it's just like a judicial process. When you go to court, the court, obviously, there has to be a ruling, a date will be set, and when they rule. That's the end of the story. And so if Parliament decides to set up an ad hoc committee, it doesn't matter what time it is. Parliament should be able to let us know what it is, because just like you said, the police is doing its work quietly on the side. And the truth is that you know the core of this leak tape had to do with elections, and some of the officers who allegedly conspired or were had to be conspiring are still wearing uniform. So you know what? Let's get this report out. If the report has not indicted them, so be it. If the report has also indicted them, let us know so that these people would not be part and parcel of the upcoming election. Because you have two police officers, JB and the other one, what is his name? JB and Asari. JB and Asari. The two of them, I think both of them are superintendents or so. Suppose. So if they have been cleared by the report, we will know when it comes out. If they've been indicted, like I said, the report, we will see it. And those people, obviously, if there are any punishments to be meted out, but you know that they obviously, if they are indicted, cannot be part of the elections. If they have not been indicted, it means their names have been cleared. They move on to, do, because whatever it is, until the report comes out, because it remains an allegation. But once the report comes out and says that, they are cleared, it means they are clean. But if it indicts them the same way, they are removed. But at the moment, if you deploy them anywhere, and I see them without a report, do you want me to believe that they are going to be fair to the system? Me. Do you want me, if I know them, JB, and I know Asari, and I saw them in any, as in charge of a certain task force somewhere, you want me to believe that they will do a good job when in the report they were heard conspiring, and yet the report hasn't come out, so we don't know what they are doing here. So I think the report should come out, because 7 police officers are still, they are still there in their uniform, and we don't know what the report is saying about them. And also the COP, Alex Mensah, who himself was one of the leaders of the conspirators. We need to know, because he did that while he was in uniform. If he's also cleared, he goes home clean. If it's not clear, we know what is his fate. So these are, let's not say they are doing their work, because these people still have it. They still have the whatever it is to probably influence how elections will go in this country, if you ask me.
Okay. So for you,
senior officers.
So for you, the uncertainty is doing more harm than good.
Of course, the uncertainty is doing more harm than good. And if you look at the 3 organs of government, the middle is the legislature. And so when a public interest issue like this goes to the legislature, they said they finished long ago, and the thing is we don't know what is going to happen. And so, for instance, if you were to put, let's say, Asari in, let's say, Odododio, or you put him anywhere to go and be manning a certain task force, or you put JP, also go to Sunyani, go and be manning a certain task force, and maybe I am going on my normal as a private citizen or as a member of a coalition doing monitoring and assessing. You want me to be cool with it and say, cool-headed and say, and he's doing a good job? No. Right. Because then I don't know what the report said about him, but he's been sent. So let's know what the report is saying. It's important. They should carry it on Tuesday so that we know what it is. It will help us.
So for you, the only way out is for Parliament to make sure that report is brought before the House, and then we get to know everything, and then we can move on with preparations for the elections itself properly.
As soon as possible. They should have done this long ago. I heard about it. I heard they finished it 2 months ago, before they even went on the break. About 2-3 months ago. So when you were, I said, we are done. When you ask, okay, so why are you about to say, well, it has to go through that process. So for 3 months, what processes are you going through? We should know the content of the report, shouldn't we? We should know.
Right. Well, Doc, thank you. Thank you so much for engaging with us. We are grateful for your time this evening. So that's Dr. Adam Bona. He's a security analyst speaking to us on these called by the minority for the reports on the leak tape, the ad hoc committee, the work they did on the leak tape, the IGP leak tape, saga to make sure that they get that report before Parliament. This is Starr today here on Star 103.5 FM. When we return from this break, we'll be talking about the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission because they are not happy about the action taken by the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, and they say CTAG is acting in bad faith. Stay with me.
Starr today, first, fast, and credible.
Now, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has petitioned the National Labour Commission to compel tutors of colleges of education to call off their strike. The commission is accusing the teachers of acting in bad faith, indicating that dialogue is the only way to solve the impasse. According to the commission, it had written numerous letters inviting the tutors, but they failed to attend. Chief Executive of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Engineer Ben Arthur, was addressing the news conference here in Accra today.
To our surprise, they wrote a letter telling us that they are having a council meeting and therefore they will not be able to attend. Immediately after receiving that letter, they followed it up with another letter asking their members to immediately embark on a strike action. That I think that in our opinion, it is out of bad faith. It is not good. It doesn't show goodwill. Because on one hand, when CTAG says that government is not respecting an agreement, I want to read to all of us are hearing what government and CTAG agreed to as the way forward if we had any differences. And I want to read item F of our negotiated, the CBA, which government has signed together with CTAG, which came into effect January 2023, is yet to expire. So I'm reading item F. I quote, that in accordance with Section 108 of the Labour Act 2003, Act 651, all differences arising out of the interpretation, implementation, and administration of this agreement shall be referred to the National Labour Commission for compulsory arbitration. So one of the concerns that they had raised was that there's a top-up that has to be given to them in terms of their research allowance. Government made some part payments. The rest, GTech has processed for payment. And as I speak with you, they are aware. If the payment has delayed and it is creating differences per our own agreement, if you are dissatisfied, is to go back to National Labour Commission and complain. And we agree that per our own agreement, in order for National Labour Commission not to delay any processes, the two parties opted for a compulsory arbitration. The question here is, why would you want to cite government for not respecting an agreement when you yourself are not ready to respect the same agreement? And we say that that is a show of bad faith. If indeed CTAG really wants to resolve this matter for the betterment of their members, then there is a need to appear at the table because we have finished with the negotiation. It's an implementation challenge that we're facing. And I think that if they are aggrieved on one point or the other, the way forward is not to say that you have served notice for strike and therefore at all costs you are going to embark on the strike. When the sector minister had even called and when Fair Wages with Prinkov, GTech, Ministry of Finance had called you to a meeting, that is a show of bad faith. They also said that with respect to migrating them onto the university payroll, government had defaulted. That is not the fact. It is not true.
So that's the Chief Executive of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Ben Arthur. Now, President of the Conference of Principals of Colleges of Education, Professor Samuel Awinkene Atintono, pleaded with the tutors to call off the strike.
About what the tutors have done, because just last week we came to this conference room, Ministers of Education conference room, and we had a meeting with them, and indeed, the minister, Honorable Minister himself, was the one who chaired it, and we exhaustively discussed these issues and given roadmap. Some of them were data that were collect concerning the migration. So we expected that they would be back here today for us to actually address the issues. So for us, I think we think that our tutors ought to have been a little bit patient as we work towards addressing them. After all, if you listen to him, most of the things that they have talked about, they actually advanced in dealing with them. The whole year round, which was data that we needed to collect, which we have done, given to GTech, and Fair Wages yesterday submitted that to Minister of Finance, it will be paid. They've raised the issue of the migration. The processes that are involved is not something that can just be done one day. But from where we sit, we have been part of it. When GTEC collected the data, the involved Prinkov, we went back to meet the staff on individual colleges. There were fallouts, like some people didn't have their qualification at the point of the data collection where they had it. We sent it back to GTEC. And at where we are, it's the scheme of work that we need to finalize it. And we came here today. If they had been here, we give ourselves next 2 weeks to sort up all those things. So we are not happy. The students resumed just a week. Today is exactly 1 week that the students returned to campus. They started teaching on Monday, and then we expected that. With the tight calendar that we have, after COVID, we wanted to get back to our normal calendar, which means that by September we should be done with the second semester. So all this particular action is going to destabilize it. And our appeal to them is that it is better we are back in the lecture halls, and then we'll do the engagement. That will actually speed up the process of whatever grievances they have. And dialogue should be the way to go rather than this strike action. It's not helping them. It is not also helping ourselves and the students. Bear in mind our own daughters and sons. So they just come back and then back on a strike is not the best way to go. Or I wouldn't say that it is a confidence issue. I mean, since I became Prinkov president, we've been working together and they know a lot of things that we have achieved so far.
You heard there the president of the Conference of Principals of Colleges of Education, Professor Samuel Awinkene Atintono, speaking there. But let's get on the phone lines and speak to Prince Obenhima. He's president of CTAG. He's joined us on the phone lines now. Mr. Obenhima, thank you so much for joining us on Starr today.
Thank you, too, for the opportunity, sir.
Great. So the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission says that your action is in bad faith because they wrote a lot to you. Come, let's dialogue. Come, let's talk about issues. And then you decided to just tell your members, let's go on strike.
Yeah, let me, at this wonderful opportunity, extend my warm greetings to your cherished listeners across Ghana and also reach out to the over 2,000 teachers in the College of Education who are on this big platform by the power of internet. And I just want to say that we don't want to be drawn into some of these arguments. We are focused on what we want. All we know is that the National Labour Commission gave orders, and the orders were clear. Orders are given to be complied with, because you look at Section 164 of the National Labour Commission regulations. It tells you that when the Commission gives orders, it is imperative on the parties that appear before the Commission to comply. Orders are given to be complied. If the orders are not being complied, you stand on the strength of your powers to be able to go to the High Court to get orders to compel that recalcitrant party to comply with the orders, like they've been doing. When the recent teacher unions, pre-tertiary unions went on strike and they had to go back and they were reluctant, they went to court, the NLC, so that they got the injunction to get them to compel with the orders. We are simply asking the NLC to go to court with the same alacrity, get orders to compel government to comply. Indeed, we understand the fair wages. They are doing their work. They are paid to work. They are paid to ensure that they protect government pay and stuff like that. That's exactly what they are doing. Apart from that, there cannot be any justification for what they are saying. If you said you invited us for discussion, the orders said that implement ABC on D. And nowhere in the orders was it written that we have to have any sort of meeting to be able to comply. In any case, complying with the orders does not require any form of meeting. And we respect state institutions. We've been part of meetings with National Labour Commission up to date, except this one that came last night when we were already in a meeting. And we said coming to Accra, practically 10 o'clock this morning, was simply impossible. So we sent a decent apology to the fair wages, telling them we will not be able to. So this thing coming out, I understand their frustration, but they should ensure that the government team that comprises the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission simply comply with the orders. So
for you, all you're asking for is for the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission or the government team in this matter to just do what the NLC has already directed and not necessarily to come to any dialogue table, because the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission believes that dialogue is the way out.
Negotiation ended when the National Labour Commission came out with the arbitral award orders, having listened to the submissions of CTAG and the government team led by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission on the 2nd of May 2023. The next 10 that remains to be done is implementation. And implementation doesn't require any form of dialogue, any form of conversation. Go ahead and implement. If you have any challenge implementing the orders of the commission, you go back to the commission by way of an appeal to, tell the commission that I have this difficulty and I can't comply with A, B, C, and D by way of an appeal. But you don't come back to us and corner us in a meeting as to negotiate with us. It's not done that way anyway.
And so you think that the call on the NLC to call you to call off your strike and then come to the negotiation table, that is moot?
I have established the fact that is not accurate. That is incorrect. Actually incorrect, because we are not negotiating. So what negotiation are they talking about? When court comes out with orders that it should comply, and then the other party, that is the beneficiary, has to be compelled to come around and meet or out of court. Is that what? I don't get it. So there is no negotiation in the first place.
Right.
That is what we have to establish. There's no negotiation.
So for you as members of CTAG, you're staying true to the cause. You are focused in this demand.
We are focused because the law is on our side. When you look at the ADR 798, it is clear also over there that when the commission comes out with arbitral orders, with the greatest respect to the Supreme Court and even the judiciary, not even the Supreme Court can seek to alter, can seek to change the orders, arbitral awards of the National Labour Commission. So they should simply go ahead and comply with the orders. So when we went on strike last year, to push for this, the National Labour Commission asked us to, get back to work so they will get the government to comply. Even around the time, our salaries got confiscated, even before the National Labour Commission could make pronouncements on the salary. And later on, the minister wrote that the salary should be reinstated, August salary. As we speak now, it will interest you to know that my own salary, the national president, who is the torchbearer of the association in terms of these things, still remain locked up without any justifiable cause, and the votes of our members. And I'm not sure that is the way we have to go.
Your salary has not been released still. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, it's not been released. My August salary for the records last year, 2023, remained unpaid for no justifiable cause. And it's not only about myself. And I think it's a clear case of abuse of, office, abuse of power, intimidation. And that is not the way we have to live, in Ghana.
So as it stands now, you're very clear in your demands, and nothing is going to make you rescind the decision to embark on the strike?
Absolutely. The only thing that will get us to rescind our decision is to see that the awards have been implemented to the fullest, and for that matter, it's translated into payment of money. It's hit people's accounts, and they've won white to go to the bank, dancing to go and withdraw their money.
Right. Friends, thank you so much. And when you're wearing the white, I'll definitely be a part of it to see that happen. Thank you so much this evening.
Extremely grateful, sir.
All right, so that's Prince Obinhima. He is the president of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, and they're very clear. Until payments are made, monies hit the accounts of their membership, and the members were white to the banks to go and cash out. They are not rescinding this particular strike. This is Starr today here on Starr 103.5 FM. When we are back, we'll be telling you about what the ECG says you should brace up for.
Starr today, first, fast, and credible.
Now, the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, says it will not be able to provide a doomsday timetable for impending load shedding, as it argues it is unable to predict the load it must shed as a result of gas supply challenges from Nigeria. ECG and Gridco yesterday announced a 3-week load shedding following a statement by the West Africa Gas Pipeline Company Limited, WAPCO, that gas supply to the country will be reduced due to ongoing maintenance in Nigeria. The announcement has led to demands for a timetable. One of such is energy analyst Kwame Jantua, who, despite commending ECG and WAPCO for the notice, insisted the release of a timetable will be the most prudent action. Listen to Kwame Jantua.
Gridco and ECG are now talking. Mm-hmm. And they are now talking, I believe, has come from the fact that a lot of people have been pushing them saying this thing you are doing, it is not right. This quarrel you're having in the public, it is not right. And they've probably taken heed of what had been said and brought out a joint communique. So, next 3 weeks, when does it start? There must be a start date.
It wasn't in the statement. Expressly so.
So when is next 3 weeks? Is it from today?
If we're counting from today,
is it from tomorrow?
To 5th.
But they shouldn't wait for people to imagine what the date is or guess what the date is. It should come out. Look, from 11th or from 20th June, for the 3 weeks after that, we are going to have load shedding. Then you give us a timetable of the load shedding. People can plan. Okay. Simple.
All right.
This maintenance thing is not going to stop today or tomorrow. ECG, Gridco, they have their maintenance schedules, don't they? They should publish it for us to see, especially in this state where we find ourselves with lack of fuel. When I say fuel, I mean gas and all that. They should publish it for us to see. On such and such and such and such and such a month, we are going to have maintenance so that we can plan way in advance. It's a question of working together. I beg, we should be able to work with the people because ECG, Gridco, VRA, IPPs, the commodity you are producing for the people of Ghana. Period. So these maintenance schedules, please try as much as possible to share it with the people. I mean, aside, what does it spoil? Tell me.
So that's Kwame Jantwa, energy analyst there. But the ECG says drawing the timetable is near impossible as the quantum of gas shortage which is factored into their planning is unknown. Here is an ECG official speaking at the press briefing early today.
Again, I will say that I speak for ECG. Ordinarily, I shouldn't be speaking for those upstream, but shortfall is a shortfall. So what it means is that we expect a certain quantum of energy to distribute to our customers. We don't get that, and so we are unable to satisfy. Sometimes in discussions, we are made aware that this gas supply shortfall, as I said, it could even be due to maintenance. The gas is available, but even maintenance on the pipeline itself will engender this. Also, they may have challenges with them. I don't know, but we normally will issue joint statements like we've done yesterday. So it could be a number of factors. But if we say generation shortfall, I think we all understand that what we are receiving is not enough for it to be shared.
So that's the clear indication from the ECG. As it stands now, they are not too sure about the quantum of gas that they would not be getting from the West African gas pipeline, for which reason they are unable to give you the timetable that you are asking. Meanwhile, Elikem Kotoko, who is a member of the NDC's communication team, is expressing his disappointment over the politicization of issues related to the energy sector. He was speaking to Star News. He rather spoke on the Morning Star.
The only pain is the arrogance with which the people in power feel they are so ashamed because they did things in the past to condemn this situation, and they now find themselves in the same or even worse. And so they find it very difficult to admit the situation we find ourselves in. Now, what we find ourselves in is more of financial challenge than any other. And this is why we continue to experience the challenges we see. The IPPs are still owed, if not over $1 billion, and the challenges, we keep being told that they are doing maintenance. I pray fervently. And this is because Gridco and ECG have defied all odds to be trusted. Looking at past experiences, I would have been more comfortable if they had even attached a copy of any of such letters from the supplier in Nigeria.
Well, WACO has released a statement as well.
Yes.
WACO has released a statement confirming what they have also put out.
Yeah, okay. Because the average Ghanaian now feels that, look, the political hand twisting, etc., has become too much.
So that's Elikem Kotoko. But let's get on the phone lines. Let's speak to policy lead for petroleum and conventional energy at the African Center for Energy Policy, Kodjo Mensah. Kodjo, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you very much for having me.
So these calls for a timetable from the Electricity Company of Ghana, are they misplaced or they are calls in the right direction? Because ECG says, you know what, we are not even sure of the quantum of gas that we are not going to be getting from Nigeria. So it will be difficult for you to get any form of timetable.
I think that explanation is really untenable. We've been in this country and we've had timetables for even 50 megawatts short for power generation. So that it's really untenable to hear ECG make that case. And I mean, consumers deserve the right to know when they're going to get power and when their lights are going to be off. So it's a legitimate call for consumers to their utility provider to provide them some schedule. That is why it's a timetable. When you get new information, then you update it, right? So that people are able to know that within this period they are not going to have light. Especially when now from a lot of residential consumers, it's prepaid meters. We've already paid for the power. So if we are not going to get it, then you have to communicate it to us and tell us why we are not going to get it.
So is it the case that the ECG at least should know exactly how much gas we are not getting, for which reason they should be able to let us know and have a timetable?
Where ECG is, really, I mean, within the value chain, I mean, knowing how much gas is available in one of these things is really not their responsibility. But, you know, if you are planning a system and they are also part of the system, then they should be very privy to at least the generation shortfalls, not the gas that will be available, but so the generation shortfalls, because gas is not the only fuel that we use to generate power. Most of our power plants are multiple fuel power plants that can also take on liquid fuels to be able to, like LT or HFO, to be able to produce power. So if gas is not available, the expectation is that we can switch to one of these liquid fuels. So ECG's job is to know through Gridco how much power is available for it to take on. And I think that can be fairly estimated even when you don't know how much fuel is going to come in here.
And talking about... Please continue.
Yeah, I mean, this gas situation from Nigeria gas is just an addition to whatever we've been experiencing lately. So if you know how much Nigeria gas is supplying to us, it is, I mean, it's fairly easy to estimate how much power we're going to lose if they are not supplying to us, in addition to what we are already experiencing before this announcement was made. So it's really untenable for ACG to say that they are unable to provide a timetable because of uncertainties. It's because of the uncertainties that we want them to give us some sense of planning around when we should be having our lights and when we can expect that the lights can go off.
Quite interesting. And talking about alternatives, I mean, if WAPCO is having challenges, we are not getting gas. You talked about the fact that this is the time that ECG should be looking at other sources to power the plants. And as it stands now, are there no alternatives for which reason we need to be plunged into this 3-week chaos as a result of WAPCO's inability to supply gas to us?
Again, let me clarify that ECG only takes the power that is generated and sent to it. So at this point, it's not really the responsibility of ECG to provide alternative fuels. It's the generators and the entire system, really, and also government, because government guarantees fuel supply to the power producers. So there are alternatives. Like I mentioned, light crude fuel, heavy fuel oil, some of the plants can run on multiple fuels that we know about. So it's only buying them. Do you have the money to buy them? And that is where ECG comes into the picture, because ECG is the one supposed to collect the revenue that is distributed across the value chain. So if ECG is unable to fully recover power that it sells, then it means that the sector is going to face liquidity challenges, which we are already seeing, and which some of us believe is really the primary cause from the that the current collection of that is going to the revenue. And it means that the sector really only have liquidity to manage it. And so that's quick around to be able to find money to get liquid for becomes very difficult. And government usually will have to intervene. Today at our program on the power sector public forum, the GRIDCO gave an indication that government has made some purchase orders for liquid fuel that is supposed to smoothing power supply within the period that we are expecting Nigeria gas to be off. We are waiting to see how much of that can take us to the end of that period, and even beyond that period as well. But really, at this point, it's not now that we should be having these conversations, because if Nigeria gas is going to shut down every year, I mean, even for our IPP, there's a maintenance schedule where they indicate the time periods within the year that they are going to have planned maintenance, unless, of course, there is an external problem that they hadn't anticipated. So this is something that they should have known. This is something that should have been communicated to them earlier for them to plan for such contingencies within the power management.
Right. Well, thank you, Kodjo. Thank you so much, and do have a lovely weekend.
Thank you very much.
Right, so that's the policy lead for petroleum and conventional energy at the African Center for Energy Policy, ACEP. This is Starr today here on Starr 103.5 FM. Stay with us.
Starr Today, first, fast, and credible.
Starr News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, My Star Radio in the USA, also live on Facebook on Starr 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Starr 103.5 FM. Starr News. Informed, in depth, in touch.
Thank you so much for staying on with us on Starr 103.5 FM. This is Starr Today with me, Joshua Kodjo Mensah. Let me take you to the Ashanti region, where a violent clash between supporters of the NDC and the NPP disrupted the voter transfer exercise in the Edra-Setredumase in that Ashanti region. Now, the NDC alleges that the NPP bashed in voters from other constituencies to transfer their votes to the area, leading to a confrontation that halted the registration process. So let's get on the phone lines now and engage NDC Director of Elections in Edra-Setredumase, Kasim Faisal, for more. Kasim, thank you so much for joining us on Starr Today. So walk us through exactly what happened.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for your audience too. Actually, something happened yesterday in a Edra-Setredumase constituency. We have two major political parties. We have other political parties in Edra-Setredumase. But the seat in Edra-Setredumase has been for the NDC for a very long time. We only lost the seat in 2012. So it has been like the NPP is also having an interest in the seat. So yesterday we had a call that the NPP parliamentary candidate went to Mampong. That's the closest constituency. Mampong, we all know that the place is denser with NPP, voters. So they went to the campus, that's the Mamtek campus. Monica, there's one college too. We call them, the National Midwifery and Amstead, the university there, Piamenka University. They went and brought people from these campuses to Edra-Setredumase. So we confronted the EC. EC said they don't have anything to do. The only thing we can do is to challenge these people during admission. Exactly, that is the right thing to do. But we have procedures before you can challenge. The procedure is you take records of these people, you keep these records during exhibition, you take these records to the exhibition center, then you challenge the person. We go to court for adjudication. The EC called a meeting, which I was a rep for NDC. She called a meeting. When we went there, she told us there's a call from above telling her to tell all the agents not to take records of these people. So we were quite frustrated. How are we going to stop these people from registering? They are not from address, and we work with regulation. When you look at the regulation governing this registration, everything is in the CI 127. So you can't just bring a convention that was just made a day or within some hours, telling us not to, take records of these people. If I don't take records, how do I challenge this person during exhibition? So I told them the police was there, the MPC, they were all there, but it was like I was the only person at one side. All of them were with the EC, telling them that she shouldn't allow us to take the records. And I told them, if something happens, they shouldn't blame NBC. So today we were there when they brought people from Mampong again. When they came, we heard some of them ahead went and they told them not to come to the center. They chased them. Some of the MPP staff too went to the guys. There was a confusion, on one side of the town. So they all came back to the registration center or the transfer center. And that was where the chaos itself happened. When they brought these people, my guys there resisted. They said they are not going to allow these guys to transfer their book because per the CI, you have to be in this town for 12 months accumulatively. It is only the security and students that are allowed to register if they don't even meet these specifications. But as an ordinary resident, you have to be in this town accumulatively for 12 months. We were using the law, but they were not using the law.
Right.
So my people resisted that they will not allow them to register. And the MPP on the other side said they have to register. So that was what exactly brought about the chaotic environment.
And so, how was that resolved?
Okay, we let me say it went on for some time. Even the exercise came to a halt because the EC were not having a favorable environment for their work. So it came to a halt. And for about 20 to 25 minutes, the police called for reinforcement. They came in, then everything was resolved. So the EC started its work again. Then this started around 11 to 12 o'clock in the morning. Then somewhere 1 to 2 o'clock, another fracas brought itself again. So they called another reinforcement from Mampong, and they also came and everything was resolved. So now we've come to the end of the exercise. As I'm talking to you, I'm taking all my details from the EC, and I'm on my way going home.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Faisal, for the updates on that situation. On that situation there in Idra. That's the side of the NDC. But of course, for a balanced one, we'll definitely also have to speak to the MPP in the area and get to understand exactly what their side of the story is. Because the NDC's accusations is that the MPP bashed in people who do not or are not originally resident in Idra-Seche-Dumase to register and transfer their votes. And that's why they mounted that defense to reject that particular act by the NPP. That's the allegation there. But let's get some answers from the NPP's communications officer for Idra-Seche-Dumase, Mohammed Seydou Musa. Mohammed, thank you so much for joining us on Starr today. So the NDC is accusing you of bashing people who are not from Idra to transfer their votes there. And that's what led to the chaos. Is that the case?
My brother, thank you very much for this important call. I'm Said Musa from Idra Communication Department. We started the limited registration, I think, it took a period of 23 days, and we finished peacefully. Before we even started the transfer, the security, the MC, the MP, and the gurus in Idra called a meeting. We sat before even the EC rules came that we shouldn't allow that Idra name going far. We shouldn't allow that to happen this time around. Both parties, the major parties, NDC, MPP, agreed that we are going to conduct ourselves. So we set a rules, and the rules is when you suspect someone coming from different place to transfer a vote to this constituency, the only thing you can do is to take that applicant's information. Then when it comes to exhibition, then you object to that person. so that they will call the person, they will call you. You go to court and defend yourself and prove why you said the person is not from Nigeria. We both agree with that. We don't know. And you see, one unfortunate thing that happened was we all have our stronghold. NDC is having its stronghold in Ejra Township, and we are having our stronghold in Seko and Anyesu. So traveling from the EC office to Seko and Anyesu is about 20-something kilometers. So definitely we have to take car to Seko and Anyesu and bus our people from that place to Ejra register. That is where they said they will not agree.
And they said you were also preventing them from taking the details of the people that you had brought there.
The EC officials even called us yesterday when this was about to happen. And they told us that the regional boss signaled them that you can do that, but you have no right to take the applicant form. You can ask that through the EC officials, so that the EC official will give you that information. Then you pick. But the NDCs are insisting they want to take the form and take that details from the form. And the EC official, the law doesn't permit them to do that.
Right. And so that is what generated all that chaos. But now we understand everything is settled and you're all good now.
Oh no, we brought about 50, 60 people from Seko, and they refused them from transferring their votes.
So the people were not able to transfer their vote?
They were not able to transfer their vote. And even yesterday, our people who settled at Mampo, who work at Mampo, decided to transfer their vote to Ejra. We gave them a bus. They came, about 23 people. They came and they transferred their vote peacefully. When they were going back, they got to a place called Dome. The NDC used their pickup, the branded pickup, and chased those guys. And it's very unfortunate. They beat them mercilessly over there yesterday. And the securities were even there. They witnessed it. They came and they told us that they saw that pickup that went there. They didn't do anything about it.
Right. Well, so as a party going forward, what's the way forward?
Oh, you see, we thought as an MPP, we believe in rule of law, as our president said. We believe in rule of law. So we told the security we can put the law into our hand and act. So we left everything to the security to even protect us. But the security were there looking at the NDC, preventing our people from transferring their votes. So going forward, we have to also get ourselves prepared. When we bring our people to transfer or to register in this constituency, we will not allow the security to prevent them, to protect them. We are going to protect our people to register or transfer their votes.
And Said, do you think that's the way to go? Don't you think that is rather going to escalate things?
After this interview, I will send you a video. There is a guy, when this thing started, a guy ran to the security, the policemen. They were about 13, thinking they will protect him. The NDC guys came to him, and the security left them, and they were videoing what was happening. When they were beating him, the security were videoing it. We have to watch there and prevent them from beating that guy. So do you think we will also sit down at that, fold our arm, and allow the security to protect us?
So you don't trust the security in Israel?
We don't trust the security in Israel. What happened yesterday and today, we don't trust the security in Israel at all. We picked. Let me give you this scenario. There was a time when one guy came to transfer. You see, when your card is lost, you have to pay 10 cedis and generate a code before you can replace your card and transfer at the same time. So the officers asked him to generate a code before he can transfer his vote. The guy said, why? Nana Akufo-Addo, sorry to use that like that short guy that prevent us from doing that. I'm saying he was insulting the president of the republic. I went and drew the attention of the security, and he told me that he has every right to do that because it doesn't stop the EC from doing their work. The security man told me that. So he told me that, and I have evidence to prove that, my brother.
Right. Well, we'll end the conversation here, but I'm sure that in the coming days we'll have more conversations surrounding security in Idra because, like you said, EC came to you, told you exactly that, well, Idra has had history for which reason that things should be done in a more coordinated way. And I'm sure that we'll find ways and means to make sure that things are very peaceful there. But thank you so much.
And even yesterday, and even my brother, lastly, before what happened, the security man in charge of yesterday went to an NDC agent and whispered something in his ears. Immediately, the security man left. Then the NDC came and they were attacking our applicants. We asked the security man, what did you
these
tell
are
him?
all allegations. But have you made these allegations to the police hierarchy, the leadership of the police?
We told them. Nothing happened.
Right.
So what we think is we can also maybe try our possible best to also defend ourselves.
But you can escalate that to the regional level.
I think we will do that at the appropriate time.
I think that would be the best option. But thank you so much, Said.
The best. You're welcome, my brother.
And grateful for your time this evening.
Thank you very much.
Right. So that's Mohammed Said Musa. He's MPP Communications Officer for Idra Setre Dumase. This is Starr today. And for the people of La who are waiting to see the completion of the La General Hospital, well, I'm sorry, you'd have to wait 2 more years because the Minister of Health, Dr. Bernardo Koboy, is assuring the citizenry that the government will ensure funds are available for the timely completion of the La General Hospital project. The project has stalled for years, sparking concerns amongst community members. Government in 2023 assured completion of the hospital by the end of this year. However, during the State of the Nation address in February 2024, President Akufo-Addo revised the completion date. During a visit to the project site to supervise progress of the work, Dr. Koboy said the project, which is now 20% complete, is expected to be completed within the 28-month stipulated period. My colleague Evelyn Araba Eidu has more.
We are committed. We'll make sure that they get the support, the releases to be on the project within the 28-month period. They started in January. So from January to now, we've had some number of months gone already. My prayer is that I'll be part of the commissioning of this project and all of us should monitor it keenly. If you were looking at only last population, we wouldn't have built this size of a hospital. But the idea is to make sure that this facility comes to augment services, general health services, both primary and possibly the next stage, because we said it's even above a district hospital, but not at the level of, let's say, a teaching hospital.
The reconstruction of the demolished La General Hospital finally started in January this year after the government decided to fund the project and also released a $9 million to the contractor. However, the redevelopment of the facility stalled due to the domestic debt exchange.
I was part of Parliament, the 7th Parliament, which looked at a loan facility to build this hospital. But not only this facility, a lot of loan agreements were hit by the pandemic. Most banks who said I was going to give you money later wrote to the state that, look, because of the global order, we don't have the support to come in. And so La General, just like other projects, suffered some issues. And that is why for some time, the plan that the government had went off-road. And as individuals, sometimes we put plans on paper, something happens and you have to go back to the drawing board. So after a lot of concerns and efforts, and I must say that there's been some activism, significant activism also from the community. The government said, look, instead of waiting for our creditors to say that it is now time to release the money, government decided to find money from its own resources to pay for the La General Hospital.
However, the project manager and the Minister of Health are unable to confirm whether the outpatient department of the La General Hospital will be ready for use by November this year, as promised by the government, including the President.
If you look at, there's some caving in that has come. We want to see whether some of these things will affect that. But we can, probably in a month, we can confirm whether or not by the 29th of October, you can come for an injection. I don't want to say part of the OPD will be ready whilst others are coming up. Bottom line, if it goes by the roadmap, we know that we'll have our hospital functioning and all of us will be happy.
The 160-bed capacity facility, which is now 20% complete, will have 7-story building for medical staff, already on the 4th level. It will also have other standard features, including a surgery department, mortuary, obstetrics and gynecology department.
So, Evelyn Arabaidu with that report there. Now, traders and pedestrians at the Malam Market area are expressing concerns over nature of repairs done on a bent highway post. The looming danger has undergone fixing following a GH1 News report, but the users fear this may be a temporary fix that will pose future threats. Awiside Dejange visited the area again and has this for us.
A few days ago, I was here to do a story on this highway post directly opposite the Malam Market on the Kaswa Malam Stretch Highway. And after my report, there were engineers seen here yesterday working on this particular spot. But when I go here to ask the residents how they feel about the development, they are actually concerned that this work here, some knots here weren't properly fixed. Let's hear what some of them had to say.
I don't think they did a good job at all, because when you check the way the thing happened, it was a truck, not just a car, a truck, and then truck is very heavy, and then the way it hit it, and then when I came and I saw the way they did it, it's not good at all. When you check the down, you could see that there are some shakes from the down. There are some shakes, you understand, which won't help. This one, when it rains and then there's a heavy wind, it blow off again. So I advise they come back and then do something better about it. Even the skills they use, they are shaking, which is very bad. It is very, very bad, and it's very sad too. So I'll plead. Government might release the money, but when money comes, people lobby and then use fake materials and other stuff so that they can get the money for themselves. I think that's the cause of all these things we are seeing now.
This is not how it should be done, because the bolts and nuts are there. You can't bend a bolt like this. You must stand firm with the nuts. You see, like these ones. They have to take them all off, and then they cast another concrete around it.
I'm be fix it that the end was through, and I'm me a boat. In time, I cast cement. The baby found why be complete. Me Madrid, me who say a year chain first one. Yeah, said the night.
So that's how we see the Jange's report on some works being done on the bent post on the Malam Highway, Malam Kaswa Highway. Now, pro-environmental group Eco-Conscious Citizens is collecting online signatures to demand an audit of parks and gardens lands across the country and the removal of illegal structure from the place. Executive Director for the pro-environmental group Eco-Conscious Citizens, Awula Sewa, has joined me on the phone lines for more on this. Awula, good evening. Welcome to Starr today.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
So, what exactly necessitated this move to collect signatures?
Well, what it is that you might recall that in 2019, there was a move to build a multi-story office building on parks and gardens land in Accra. This was resisted and the land was preserved. Now, we're in 2024, and there's a move by a private estate developer, the estate, to appropriate parts of parks and gardens land. And we are saying that these parks and gardens land was allocated in 1952 to the Minister of Agriculture. In 1961, when our visionary first president established parks and gardens, those lands were allocated to parks and gardens. So we cannot understand how a private estate developer would lay hands on land earmarked for a horticultural purpose. And that is why we want Ghanaians to understand what is going on, because this is not happening just in parks and gardens in Accra. In parks and gardens across Ghana, there's a on parks and gardens prime land. For example, in Takwa, a petrol station is being built on a portion of parks and gardens land. I am reliably informed that in Takwa, Kumasi, all over the 60 regions, there is an onslaught on parks and gardens land. So the petition is for individuals to understand what is going on, add their voice to the fact that we need our green spaces. We just finished Green Ghana. What is the purpose of Green Ghana if the existing green spaces are being built upon? What will be the purpose of Green Ghana if we are destroying our forest reserves and then pretending to be planting trees? So that is why we have the petition. We want an audit of all parks and gardens lands across Ghana and we want any illegal structures to be removed.
And Awula, what do you think is fueling this interest in parks and gardens lands?
You see, it's the interest in prime land. If you come to cantonment, there are, all sorts of developments taking place. Apartment blocks sometimes occupying virtually all the land without any thought for parking, drainage, other facilities, and the authorities seem to be looking idly by. There's an onslaught on prime lands all over the country, especially in Accra because it's the capital. So whether it's parks and gardens land, it's land that was allocated to CSIR or whatever, there's an onslaught on this land.
And Awula, how do people get to also sign up to this?
Well, they can, the petition is being circulating, but if they haven't got a copy, they can email ecoconsciouscitizens at gmail.com, ecoconsciouscitizens@gmail.com, or ask themselves for my contact details, and I'll be happy to make a copy of the petition available to them. And let me say that there's an existential threat in Ghana. Our green spaces are being devastated. I've talked about forest reserves and the poisoning of our water bodies. We know that we need our trees, to provide clean energy. They also help in threat mitigation, and they also provide a habitat for our other animal and plants. So they are very important to us. And so all Ghanaians need to amplify the campaign and understand that it's for their well-being. There's a reason why we have our parks and our gardens. It's not for fun alone. They have a place to bear on our health and well-being. It's important to us. And that's why we do Green Ghana. It's not supposed to be a gimmick. It's not supposed to be a publicity stunt. Green Ghana is supposed to acknowledge the fact that our green spaces are important. We have climate change because we've lost a lot of our forest cover, and therefore we need to replace it. And that is why we are saying that we should stop illegal mining, and we should ban or pause community mining, and we should repeal both EI 144 and LI 2462, which allows mining in globally significant biodiversity areas. Right. Nobody can be serious about greening Ghana and yet allow mining and logging in globally significant biodiversity areas.
Very well. Awula, thank you so much. I appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Great. That's Awula Sewa. She is the Executive Director of Eco-Conscious Citizens. Let's turn our attention to some business this evening. And the Chartered Institute of Marketers Ghana has urged newly inducted and existing members to leverage the emergence of artificial intelligence to strengthen their professional delivery to contribute meaningfully to economic development. According to the Institute, AI is now a necessary global tool that, when used effectively, will enhance competence in the discharge of one's role. Here is CIMG President Dr. Daniel Kasati speaking at the induction of some 80 members in the Institute earlier this week.
Is crucial in transforming industry narratives and maintaining high standards. Encourage your organizations to steer off unprofessional marketing conduct in favor of sound strategies to create customer value as a means to growing your individual businesses. This will help you build stronger relationships with your customers, as customer satisfaction will be guaranteed, which will in turn promote customer loyalty. It is imperative in this era of technology, rapid technological advancements, for you to embrace new and emerging technologies, particularly the evolving artificial intelligence or AI technology, to support and promote your work as marketers. This is because AI offers unprecedented opportunities for you to gain deeper insights into customer behaviors, enhance professionalism, and optimize your marketing strategies. By leveraging AI, you can stay ahead of the curve, ensuring your marketing efforts are innovative, customized, and effective at all times. Through marketing research, thorough marketing research is very essential, as you need to understand your customers, industry trends, the moves, postures, and temperaments of your competitors, especially your peers, as well as the best in class in your respective industries.
So you heard Dr. Daniel Kasati, he's president of the CIMG. Speaking on behalf of the new inductees, fellow of the CIMG and deputy MD of CBG, Nana Mapoku charged her fellow inductees to harness their collective strengths in implementing marketing strategies that sustain businesses.
Inductees before us have set high standards and achieved remarkable milestones. These legacies will motivate us as we aspire to achieve same. The roles we take up today require that we serve with unwavering dedication, integrity, and transparency. As a community bound by a shared purpose, we pledge to give our best and to distinguish ourselves with integrity and transparency. Let's embrace the journey with a shared vision and commitment to the CIMG, harnessing our collective talents as shining examples in our various fields of endeavor. Marketing is the oxygen that sustains businesses, helping them identify opportunities for growth and making sense of markets and consumer behavior. Let us therefore be worthy suppliers of this much needed oxygen as we chart a course towards progress, growth, and success. I'm optimistic about our future and excited to be a part of this journey with you all.
So you heard a fellow of the CIMG and deputy MD of CBG, Nana Ama Poku. Let's turn our attention to some sports news this evening. And in sports, the Minister of Youth and Sports, Mustafa Yusuf, has cautioned national teams against using state-intended glory for their personal benefits. He said this when Ghana's national amputee football team, the Black Challenge, presented the African Amputee Football Cup of Nations trophy to him at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. The caution comes after some prominent individuals and organizations made some donations to the team for winning gold in Egypt after the team visited them on their return to Ghana.
I've asked the president of the Ghana National Para team. We have seen that you have received a lot of donations, which is good for us. You should account for it because it's for the state, it's not for you. And he has indicated that he will definitely come and account for it. And government will then see what we will do to complement whatever you have received already. So that is the information I just want you. And we'll communicate after you have presented all the statements, all what you have received to us, to my office. So, Mr. Samson Dean, we'll be looking forward. And once that is done, we'll then make sure that we'll also communicate to you what government wants to give it to you. Thank you so much.
So you heard the sports minister, Mustafa Yusuf, rather demanding that the team accounts for all donations made to them because it belongs to the state and not to them. But we cannot listen to him cautioning national teams against using state-intended glory for their personal benefits.
National team. The team sitting here is not a club. It's not your private property. When you are going to Egypt, if I haven't signed for you to represent our country, you cannot be there. So that is to the management who are here. And it is not only to you, but to entire national team. Once it's a national team and you are going to represent our flag, anytime you come, that's why when you are going, I delegated my director of FAA to come with you in Egypt. I made sure that communication went to the ambassador who is representing the president to make sure that whatever is supposed to be done, courtesies and protocols are accorded to you because you are representing our country. So when you come, after the successes and there is anything, the first point of call should be this office. We are not going to tolerate you using the state for your personal benefits. Once you come, all of us will then be making sure that whatever benefit that is supposed to accrue to you, just like we did in the previous time when you came, the $2,000 you all received never came into my pocket. It was for you because you represented us and you performed. And similar opportunity will be given to you. But if you realize that this time when you landed, unlike last year.
So you have the sports minister there, Mustafa Yusuf, sounding that caution to national teams. And yeah. Well, let's turn our attention to the foreign front this evening because tensions between the U.S. and Russia have escalated as President Joe Biden reiterated America's stance against Russian aggression, while President Vladimir Putin condemned perceived theft. Meanwhile, at the G7 summit, a 10-year bilateral security deal between U.S. and Ukraine was signed, aiming to bolster Ukraine's defense capabilities without committing U.S. troops. Additionally, the G7 froze $325 billion in assets following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, with interest from these funds being used to pay off a $50 billion loan for Ukraine. This loan was hailed as a significant support measure, with President Biden emphasizing ongoing U.S. commitment to Ukraine's defense, echoed by President Zelensky's gratitude and recognition of the historic nature of the security deal. Other G7 leaders praised the loan deal, recognizing its potential to be game-changing for Ukraine. Let me now take you to South Africa, where a round of the bulletin and South Africa's Democratic Alliance has reached an agreement on joining a government of national unity with the African National Congress ANC. After 2 weeks of negotiations, the ANC lost its majority for the first time in an election on the 29th of May and has spent 2 weeks locked in intensive behind-the-scenes talks with other parties, which came down to the wire on Friday morning as the new parliament was reconvening. Now, let's take a listen to the party leader of the Democratic Alliance, John Steenhuisen, who engaged the media after the agreement was reached.
It is my privilege to report to you that after 2 weeks of thorough negotiations that only concluded after today's sitting of Parliament had already started, the DA has reached agreement on the statement of intent for the formation of a government of national unity. The government of national unity's presidential candidate will come from the largest party inside the grouping, being President Cyril Ramaphosa. Following his election today, President Ramaphosa will then exercise his prerogative to appoint his new cabinet from among the members of the Government of National Unity in consultation with the leaders of the constituent parties.
So you had there John Steenhuisen, who is the leader of the Democratic Alliance, engaging the media after that agreement was reached. And that's how it read the curtains on the Friday edition of Starr Today here on Starr 103.5 FM. It's been a really engaging week. And as we get into the weekend, remember to stay safe out there. If you drink, do not drive. If you drive, do not drink. And please, let's stay off the fizzy drinks so that we can live healthy lives. It's raining in parts of the country. In Accra, we are experiencing some rain, so please be safe on the roads. My name is Joshua Kodjo Mensah. At 6:30, we bring you Focus on Africa from the BBC. Do have a lovely weekend.